In black.
It is out of here.
Good morning. This is Murph and Marcus. Brian Murphy and Marcus the Waterboy Boucher. Streaming live at twitch.tv/the sports leader.
Well, the guy said good morning, but is it a good morning? Come on, Bay Area. What are we doing out here? We're blowing games everywhere. You're getting smoked in Green Bay. Just try to, Marcus, enjoy a Monday night at home. Chase Center, shorthanded Brooklyn Nets coming off a road back-to-back at Sacramento, up 18 in the third quarter. I'm just trying to enjoy my Monday nights. So I ask you, Marcus, is it a good morning? And good morning to you, brother.
Well, Murph, I will say good morning to you and to all the people listening this morning. And as if we didn't have enough fourth quarter issues with the 49ers, now we got them with the Golden State Warriors.
Do we? 2 in a row. We didn't even talk about it. We spent all Monday talking, Brandon Allen and Deebo Samuel and Lambeau Field and getting smoked and seasons dying. And Marcus had idly asked, because he was doing bum babies. He said, should I put the Warriors in there for blowing a big lead in San Antonio? And I was like, no, they won Friday night. They're going to the NBA Cup quarterfinals. We can sweep that one under the rug. Well, not so fast.
No.
After last night. In case you missed it, y'all, the Warriors blew an 18-point second-half lead against a Nets team that was missing 4 of its rotation players. By the way, not missing Dennis Schroeder, which, by the way, you ready for the riff? Dennis Schroeder, which is German for Kobe Bryant.
Ooh.
Oh, my God.
I thought you were going back to the German punchable face, the Guschen
the fucking speaking.
Yeah,
no, it's not punchable. It's gettable. I want Dennis Schroeder on my team.
You want
dude.
that face.
Wow, what a performance by that cat. Holy moly. He was the best player in the building last night, and that includes Steph Curry. He really was. And if you missed it, the Warriors blew it and lost to the Brooklyn Nets, 128-120. Their second straight double-digit blown second-half lead. So tough little stretch here for your Dubs, who now welcome a tiny little team called Oklahoma City to town tomorrow night.
Yeah, here comes OKC, Murph. And now I'm kind of worried because on Saturday they blew the 17-point lead to the Spurs, lost to the big Frenchman, Victor Wembanyama. Then they lost to the German specialist yesterday, Schroeder. Who's coming to town on Wednesday? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the Canadian phenom? Yeah. It's an international sensation right now. I'm expecting the Warriors to blow another double-digit lead on Wednesday to the next international superstar.
It's the UN tour of blown leads.
Yeah.
Find an international from every team.
This is the world's revenge tour for Steph Curry in the Olympics.
I like
All the international superstars now have Steph Curry in their scopes.
How do you say night-night in German? Something like that. Backensfiegenbeip, or whatever they're saying. But yeah, Schroeder was fantastic last night. So was Cam Thomas, and it was just a little much. By the way, I had to Google this. I'll just admit to you guys, there are certain things about the sports world that escape me. So I'm like, the Brooklyn Nets are in town. I'm like, who the hell are the Brooklyn Nets anymore?
That's a great question.
And I said, who's coaching the Brooklyn Nets right now? Had to Google it. Shout out my man Jordi Fernandez out of Spain. Spain/Canada. More international pain.
There it is.
Yeah, he was the head coach of the Canadian national team. You're right.
It all makes sense.
Was revenge.
It's the international revenge tour.
In fact, at one point when Schroeder had yet another drive to the bucket and scored again, his fits and his exasperation said, "This is German national team Schroeder." That's what he was saying. So, my God. Dennis Schroeder, German for Pete Maravich last night, scored 31, 17 in the fourth quarter. He was unstoppable. He was unstoppable. The Warriors I just started laughing. They made 20 out of 44 threes, or 20 out of, whatever. They shot 44% from three. They were just fantastic, and the Warriors went stagnant. And they sat Steph for a real long time, which did not please the Twitter masses. Mm-hmm. He was on the bench for basically the entire collapse. And they brought him back to try to wave a wand, and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. So the Warriors lose 2 in a row. They go from 12-3 and riding high to 12-5 and not riding as high. Coming in. So this will obviously, again, there's that school of thought. The NBA does not begin until Christmas, nor does it begin until maybe the All-Star break. So maybe this is all preseason in some form. I don't know.
Yeah, and to your point, I don't think it was a great look when Steph Curry goes to the bench last night. The Warriors are up 86-7-7, and by the time he comes back in the fourth quarter, they're down 101-97, which I think shows you that they still are missing that second superstar that can carry this team when Steph Curry's on the bench. I know this season has been a lot about the depth and the options they have. Well, are we getting to an issue now where there's almost too much depth? Because Pods is out there over a guy like Moses Moody, who went off in the second quarter, scored 12 straight points, but there's still too much depth. They let Moody actually get some valuable minutes. Like I thought with Clay's departure, Moody would have more of a pathway to playing. I know Lindy Waters has stepped up and played pretty well in the starting lineup, came out in the first quarter and shot pretty well, but they have so much depth, but not really a piece that can carry this team when Steph Curry's on the bench.
Two things of note. Kuminga was out.
Yes.
We must note that. Who knows? And there was a belief that perhaps he could grow into that. So far, through 17 games, I wouldn't say that that's happened.
No, I wouldn't either.
But I would say, in fact, some people think he's being exposed and still shown how far he has to go. But long way to go. They could have used him last night, even if he's not a true number two. And then this DeAnthony Melton injury is probably a bigger deal than we realize. I mean, I know he's not a superstar, but he's pretty important. He's pretty important to what their vision was for this team. So we should note that they were missing those two guys, but the Nets were missing 4 rotation guys last night too.
Yeah, no Ben Simmons, no Nick Claxton. Like there was a bunch of guys from the Nets rotation. 4
guys from their rotation. But yeah, last night was a night they could have used. But you're right. And then listen, there's I wound up right before bed going down the anti-Kerr Twitter hole. Wow,
there's an anti-everything on Twitter.
Wow. They want this guy putting a rocket and shot to Venus. They want this guy off the planet.
What has Steve Kerr ever done?
Exactly, dude. Oh my God. He doesn't know how to use a rotation. He doesn't know how to deploy his personnel. He doesn't know anything. If you go down certain Twitter rabbit holes last night. But one of the legit criticisms would be that Moses Moody had a great first half and then did not play critical moments in the second half. And he just kind of sat and watched it burn to the ground. So last night, when you lose, you're going to be open to criticism like that. So that was a bad one. I thought, hey, listen, at least we got the Warriors on. Monday night was a good game. I was watching that. I had the Chargers, unfortunately. Did not. I'm a big Chargers believer. I'm a big Jim Harbaugh guy.
Yeah, you're a big Jim Harbaugh guy.
You're the two teams that have kind of been my little low-key, picks this year that have carried me pretty well in that pool I'm in are the Chargers. And I know this is going to hurt you because it's another AFC West team. Bo Nix's Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos have already eclipsed their win total. They got the win again this past weekend against the Raiders. But you're right. It does seem like you're more of a Jim Harbaugh guy, while I'm more of a John Harbaugh guy because I picked the Ravens last night, and the Ravens have been the team that I've been winning on a lot this year.
And they're 3-0. He's 3-0 against Jim. And he's like, it's so funny. They did the whole Harbaugh Bowl stuff again. We've done this, obviously Super Bowl was the biggest one, but John's like, yeah, no, he goes, Jim's been kicking my ass all my life. I'm like, really? Has he? You won a Super Bowl? You beat him in a Super Bowl? You beat him on Thanksgiving night? You beat him last night? But John's being the nice big brother.
Big bro.
He doesn't draw as much attention as Jim, He's the older guy who always has to obey mom and dad. Jim's the rambunctious second kid who's doing all his crazy stuff. But still, he's done a great job with the Chargers. Phenomenal job. But the Ravens, dude, I have to tell you about Lamar. He says every now and then you just watch him play and you're like, whew.
Well, it's crazy. We're coming off a season where I won a ticket off of Lamar Jackson winning the MVP. And then this offseason, I was like, there's no way he goes back-to-back. There's no way they give him a third MVP trophy this early in his career. And Murph, you can make the argument that he's playing better this season than he was last year when he won the award.
Are his numbers better?
His numbers, I believe, are better this year. And then you throw in the fact that he's got that monster Derrick Henry in the backfield, and this offense looks like it's unstoppable.
If you care, and I know you do, my fantasy matchup last night came down to Derrick Henry.
Ooh.
And it was Lice Boy. I had Lice Boy on the ropes until Derrick Henry eclipsed the 100-yard mark, and that got him that extra 5. Both of us had low-scoring weeks. I almost knocked off the number 1 seed, but Derrick Henry, he's relentless, bro. And how about the Titans just letting him walk? Somebody had a bit yesterday on Twitter. It was like the New York Giants let Saquon Barkley walk. How's that working out? The Las Vegas Raiders let Josh Jacobs walk.
Yes,
how's that working out?
Yeah, shut up, Josh McDaniels.
And the Tennessee Titans let Derrick Henry walk. How's that working out?
Yeah, but there's no value in running backs anymore, Murph.
There you go.
No value in running backs.
Nope. I tell you what, there's no value in the Niner running back. He's not gaining any yards. What's going on with that guy?
Oh, Murph.
I know, right? 23? What's he doing? What's he doing? He's got a big game Sunday in which he's a 7-point underdog.
Yeah.
Niners are 7-point dogs.
And Christian McCaffrey still hasn't scored 7 points yet. 3 games, no touchdowns. No touchdowns for CMC. Well, trust me, I've been betting on it every game. I've been waiting for him to score.
Well, anyway, Warriors, no bueno, and that's not a very Thanksgiving thing to do, lose at home to the Brooklyn Nets. But they will take on the Thunder tomorrow night. That'll be daunting, to say the least. And, of course, we got Niners, Bills hyped to go. It's short week, baby. It's Tuesday. Some would say it's a Thursday already.
Ooh.
But actually, you know what? Young Tony said that to me when I walked in this morning, and I got where he was going. He goes, it's Thursday. And I was like, I see where he's working, but I actually want to relish in the fact that it is a Tuesday because Thanksgiving on a Thursday is the beautiful thing. Yeah. So let's just say Tuesday, Thanksgiving week.
That's it. Slow
even
down,
better.
Tony.
That's
Let me
even
enjoy
better.
my Thanksgiving Tuesday because I know it's a Thursday already, but Thursday I'll be eating turkey and watching football.
And plus, that deprives us of the Thanksgiving week Wednesday in which you go to your local bar and see all your high school pals.
Shout out Blackout Wednesday.
What was your local?
Oh, the Peacock.
The Peacock.
Yeah, down in Sunnyvale, which is
right.
now the local something. But yeah, it used to be the Peacock right across the street from Fremont High School.
Well, you guys know mine, the 2 a.m. club, obviously.
The
And then we'll
Deuce.
have to ask where Tony's going here on his Tuesday/Thursday, Wednesday/Friday, Thursday being Thursday. Anyway, it's all good. We got a guest list coming our way. We got more woes in the Bay Area, but we'll get through it together. Hey, it's Thanksgiving week. Come on. Everybody loves Thanksgiving week, even when you lose to the Brooklyn Nets. On KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Now, from the O'Donnell Financial Group Sports Desk. Learn more at odfigroup.com. O'Donnell Financial Group, because planning is a process, not a product.
1994 Super Bowl champion Ricky Watters joins Papa and Silver in studio at 12:30 this afternoon. You can hear that interview and you can see that interview live on the KNBR app and KNBR.com. It is also that time.
It's time for the Young Tony and John Joe question of the day.
All right, so everybody was talking about this yesterday. Fred Warner, after the game, said that the Packers, quote, presented some different run looks that we had prepared for in the first half, but we got to be better from the jump. So who deserves blame for the lack of preparation? You can join the conversation in the YouTube chat now.
And now, time for the Protect Your Assets with David Hollander Business and Technology Report. Dub Nation, Murph and Marcus keep rolling on the sports leader and streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Schroeder, the pocket pass to Keon Johnson. Waters moves his feet, shot clock at 1. They run out at Schroeder, got it off in time and buried a 3. Barely beat the 24-second buzzer, and Brooklyn has flipped the game by 21 points. Shot clock down to 7. Schroeder on Steph. Kick out, left wing 3 is perfect by Trendon Watford. 20 made threes. There's no reason to shoot. So this game flipped. 26 points in the final 18 minutes of the game. And so for Steve Kerr, he's got a team that's 12-5, but the last 2 games are definitely going to be ones the Warriors think about a little bit.
Yeah, there's old Fitz and Buki on NBC Sports Bay Area. Man, oh man, just trying to enjoy a Monday night. Warriors up 18, thinking, okay, get to 13-4. Things will be good. No. Dennis Schroeder had other ideas. So did the Brooklyn Nets, clocking the Warriors. You know, it's funny, I opened the show by saying, come on, Bay Area, what's going on? And then I heard a roar from the 408. Say, what do you mean what's going on? We handle our business down here in Teal. Forgot to mention the Sharks 7, the Kings 2, and your boy Macklin Celebrini scored 2 goals and an assist last night. So
BLA.
Go Sharks.
BLA.
This is easily the most Sharks I've talked in maybe 20 years. But yeah, why not? I mean, listen, they had that terrible start, and they had not been playing great of late, but this kid, when he does something, 71, right? 71?
71, Murph.
71?
Number 71 on your back. Number 18 on his birth certificate. Number 1 in your heart.
What? Time for Celebrini jerseys? Marcus called him Celly during the break.
During the break, I was like, yeah, Murph, you see my guy Celly just scored 2 last night?
It's like, who's Celly?
He goes, Celly. I said, I don't even know if people are calling him Celly. I'm just calling him Celly now.
Young Tony, let's welcome the young generation. Maybe he'll tell us what they're calling Macklin Celebrini. Good morning, Tone.
Good morning.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic.
Did you see we got a handwritten thank you note from the lovely, lovely young high school news editor, Emerson Swift? She wrote us a handwritten thank you note for the TAM News visit that you missed.
I was going to say, what did the note say? Thank you for not having the water boy at the studio?
She spelled your name correctly. She was so excited to see the studio where you and Marcus broadcast.
Spelled it with a K and everything.
That is correct. But then she went out of her way to say that when young Tony and Jack added so much to the experience, I just show it to. So there you go. Young Tony, was the last time you wrote a handwritten thank you note?
Ooh, that was something that my parents always made sure I did as a kid. Handwritten thank you notes, no text messages, no emails. To be honest, though, lately, not a lot.
We got to all be like Emerson and write our thank you notes. But anyway, dude, did you catch some Warriors last night?
Warriors, no.
Sharks?
No. I was watching the Monday Night Football game, I'll be honest.
Okay, all right.
By the way, Joe Thornton calls him Mac.
Ooh.
Is that it then? Just Mac? We're going Mac?
I mean, it's the return of the Mac.
It's pretty simple.
I mean, it's an easy name.
All right,
I just thought Celly was a little bit more creative.
Big Mac?
Celly Mac.
I don't know.
Ooh, I like that.
Anyway, they got their thing done last night. So are you going to get a 71 jersey to represent the young generation, bud?
I might have to, yeah, dude.
Your ass are at that age now because you just turned 26 where athletes are starting to be younger than you.
Insane.
Yeah.
What a concept.
It begins, you get to that moment, you turn around and some star is younger than you. You're like, wait, what?
And I know, who was it? Gary Ratnich had the rule that you should never wear a jersey. You should never wear another man's name on your back.
Another man's name on your back, which I thought was always a little much.
I thought it was a little over the top. Now, my take when it comes to jersey is a little bit different. I don't think you should be wearing a player younger than you.
Interesting.
Like,
Well,
I think
that
it
rules
should
out
be
a lot of guys for me.
I know, but like, I'm not taking shots at anybody, but it's like, it's a little weird to me when I go to like a Niner game and I see like a 50-year-old dude in a Brock Purdy jersey. I'm like, you should be in a Joe Montana jersey.
Okay.
You should be in a...
Always has to be an elder.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm just saying, like, me, like, I probably shouldn't be at the game wearing this brand new jersey of a Hassan Kim and say, give me McCovey, give me Willie Mays, give me some of the classics. I don't know. That's just kind of my thought.
I mean, the whole concept of the jersey. When I grew up, nobody wore jerseys. Nobody. It all started in, like, I'm going to go ahead and say, like, the early 90s kind of. And I remember my buddies and I would riff because we would see some guy in a Jerry Rice jersey. Say, oh, look, Jerry Rice is here today. How exciting. Look at this idiot wearing a Jerry Rice jersey. Now, dude, if you don't, like, you go to a Niner game, if you're not wearing a jersey, you're like the guy out. You're out. Jerseys are now become, like, you got to wear a jersey. Everybody's got to wear a jersey.
Well, now it's become a point where, like, you try to go, like, off the track and pick a jersey that nobody else has.
Well, Copes was wearing his Gary Payton throwback yesterday, or in Hawaii, pardon me. We have Young Tone buying the Brandon Pfaadt Diamondbacks jersey, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and what was the other one he was going to wear? You were going to buy...
I'm going to buy Lindy Waters III jersey for sure.
Let me tell you about Lindy Waters. I wanted to get into him last night because he's crazy. We know that. That's crazy. That's crazy. He didn't play great in the second half last night.
First half came out shooting
He
well.
disappointed me he was getting beat on defense a lot last night. Sorry, I was belching there. So yeah, I didn't love a lot of guys in the second half last night. They weren't doing their thing. In fact, Steve Kerr talked about blowing that lead. Excuse me. God, I'm getting emotional. Belching and coughing. That's what happens in the morning. Steve Kerr on losing a big lead last night. Come on, Steve. What you got?
Felt like we lost juice again tonight. Big lead, late third, and can't close the deal. So not a lot of energy, not a lot of force. And, you open up the door for a team in the modern NBA, and they might make 23s like Brooklyn did tonight. And they did a great job. I give them huge credit. Schroeder was phenomenal tonight. But that was the key stretch. They took a timeout late third. We're up 18, and we got a chance to put them away, and they go on an immediate 9-0 run. And then it's a game, and then again, with the way teams shoot threes, anything's possible these days.
Yeah, lost that juice, that oomph. They did. They kind of just went into cruise control, and the Nets are like, we'll take it. I think they're expecting the Nets to check out and fade away.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think they were just expecting their defense to close out the game because throughout the entire season, the number one story this year for me with the Warriors has been their defense. And last night was the first time they've lost a game when scoring at least 120 points.
Good stat.
Going to last night's game, they were 9-0 in games where they scored 120 plus. Well, last night, the Brooklyn Nets got hot from behind the three-point line, scored 128, and we saw that defense kind of disappear, despite the fact that it was the Brooklyn Nets just hitting shots that they probably don't hit every night.
No, you're right about that. Specifically, the defense has been the one thing you can hang your hat on. Like, wow, these guys are going to play some D. That'll serve them well. They're going to maybe make the top 6, in the West with this defense, but not last night. 408 says the Warriors defense looked like Murph and Marcus getting owned in a JCC pickup game.
Hey, you don't know what those pickup games look
by
like.
Schroeder and Thomas losing to the lowly Nets, SMDH. I don't know. I don't know. I'd take our chance. You and me playing D would be physical.
I mean, now with the lineup changes at KNBR, I would say that our show would probably be the best 2-on-2 basketball show.
Oh, man. Well, used to go to the domain of the guy who played in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
He's
I think you're
now.
right. I don't think there's any question we are the best.
Now it's me and you, Murph.
No, I think we are.
Who wants it?
There's no question.
I will dunk on Copes.
And I will play physical, too.
Yeah.
I got 6 fouls. I'm using them all.
Oh, dude, me and Murph are throwing elbows down on the block.
You know the Howard Bryant story, by the way, about me and him playing a pickup game, and he's getting so ferociously competitive against Jeff Shadia and Mark Saxon, and went so long into the night, and then we got the big bucket, and I slammed the ball to the ground and screamed, "Find a way!" And Howard fell to the ground laughing. He's still laughing about that. They all laughing. They're like, "Dude, did you just do that? Really?" I was like, "Huh? What? Huh? Did I?" I was lost in the moment.
Yeah, it should not be a surprise to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, Murph's the kind of guy who, plays pickup basketball like a YMCA, and he's out there slapping the court.
Oh, yeah.
Playing
or
defense.
Just backing you down, really. Backing you down like that old man. You've seen that footage of that old guy just backing the guy down. Then he fakes left and goes right.
Quick little hook shot. Fundamentals, baby. Fundamentals.
Steph Curry on the blown lead last night. Come on, Steph. What you doing out there? He sat for most of it. They were very luxurious with his minutes last night. He only played 29. Steph.
Sustaining our effort and energy, especially on the defensive end, and we have to find a way to keep our composure if teams are hitting shots. Like, this is the league, and there's talent everywhere. And you got to expect there are going to be some runs. You would hope at home you'd be able to kind of right the ship a little quicker, like, as opposed to the road experience with San Antonio. But it's the same dynamic where you have a big lead, they make a run to end the quarter, and momentum starts to shift, and we don't have an answer to either get enough stops or to find organization on offense to get good shots. So it's a tough feeling when you feel like you've done enough to separate yourself and you just see the lead kind of dwindle, and then it's just a game of, makes or misses down the stretch the last 6 minutes, and we can't put ourselves in that situation when we play well enough throughout the rest of the game.
Well, we'll see. Their schedule gets tougher going forward. By the way, I love it, man. 408 says the Bay Area is coming for Kyle's head first, and now's Kerr's head. Typical. And then I looked down 707 said, who coached that game last night? Kyle Shanahan? So, people just relentless. All right, guest list on a Tuesday, 11/26/24. Thanksgiving week, man. You ready for your gravy? You ready for your potatoes? You ready for your bird? You ready for your stuffing? The appetizers get you, Tony. You eat too much early, and then you get to the table, and you're like, maybe then you're full before you get to the table.
That's a dangerous game.
See, I could argue that the appetizers are the best part because the turkey's always dry.
Ooh.
Is it? Not when you brine it and cook it correctly.
Oh, not when you throw it in a Traeger, let it smoke up for damn near 12 hours,
You trusting
Tony.
Pops with the turkey?
So, mom and Pops, usually I'm going to get up to Rockland a day before, and I'll be like the supervisor. I'm kind of like my dad's godfather.
Put on the orange vest and the helmet?
I'm like the fairy godfather of barbecue. Like, my dad has his own Traeger now. I bought it for him a couple years ago. So, he's got it down, but I'm the OG smoker in the family, so I got to make sure everything is up to par.
So you're going to have your hands on that thing.
Oh, of course.
I didn't ask you, Tony, where's your local on a Wednesday night?
Yeah, I was telling Curly about this. I don't know that I've ever been a part of such a thing.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah.
This poor kid.
Well, you did go to high school in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So maybe there's
this
a
poor
local
kid.
watering hole
Wednesday
in Kentucky.
night, home alone, watching planes, trains, and automobiles.
Well, first of all, in high school, I was under 21.
Yeah, but
but
it's
it's like
this is when you come home from college.
It's almost like the yearly high school reunion where
So,
everybody from high school meets up at
It's
a
an
bar
American
and drinks.
tradition.
What if your high school friends are, halfway across the
Oh,
country?
there you go. See, this is what happens.
Buy
when
yourself a plane ticket, Tony.
This is what happens when you go to high school in Kentucky.
Maybe I don't want to go back.
Where's Curly's? Is it the Philly Club or is it somewhere else? Is it the Dubliner? Where is it? Where's his local on a Wednesday before?
The Rocks?
The what? The what?
Rockets.
La Rocca's.
La Rocca's. I don't even know what he's telling me over here, bro.
Just right here in Columbus, La Rocca's Corner. This is it. Is that where it is, Curls? That's the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving? That's a good spot.
I have to crash it now that I'm in the city.
Well, you should.
I know.
They'd walk in, they'd be like, South Bay, not city, not city, not
Who
city.
is this guy? Smells like the South Bay in here.
Smells like a public school kid. All right, what do we got, Tony?
All right, coming up this morning, we are going to have Mike Krukow join the show at 7:30. A little bit of a different schedule today. We have the big hit. John Lynch is going to join the show at 8 o'clock this morning. That means the cooler content is at 8:30. Mike Silver at 8:50. Mark Spears at 9:15. And then our 49ers player of the week, drum roll please, Leonard Floyd, ladies and gentlemen, Super Bowl champ at 9:30 this morning.
Well, we had him on in the spring when he signed, but he got 2 sacks. He's the only guy who got to Jordan Love on Sunday. Got 2 sacks. He's on track to get that 9 sacks for the 5th straight year. We'll see. But we'll talk to him about the D-line and the defense and Nick Sorensen and all those questions. In fact, 49ers questions getting answers next on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader. All right, bright and early on a Tuesday, Thanksgiving week. Steve Moskowitz on the line helping you out in this holiday week. What to do when you have unfiled or unpaid taxes. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. And I'd like all the listeners to enjoy their holiday and concentrate on that and their families. and not be thinking and worrying about taxes. What a shame to ruin the holiday that way. There's so many good options. If you haven't filed tax returns, it's probably because you didn't have the money to pay them. And even if you did file the returns, it's just miserable feeling that you're drowning under 1,000 feet of water. You don't know what to do. You think there's no hope. There's no way out. There's a lot of good solutions, whether we make a deal to qualify to just pay part and they forgive the rest or get the penalties forgiven. Sometimes penalties and interest are more than the taxes, or get monthly payments that you can afford, not what some IRS agent says you can afford. The bottom line is we want to do all this for you. The only thing you have to do is just give us a call and say, hey, Steve, get me out of this mess, and I want to enjoy my holiday.
Well, there it is. That's tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. He's my tax attorney. He should be your tax attorney. Give him a call at 888-TAX-DEAL, 888-TAX-DEAL, or go online to moskowitzllp.com.
Faithful Murph and Marcus keep your morning moving. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
All right, happy Tuesday, Thanksgiving week. Everybody's Overnight Dave says he's never heard of the Wednesday night Thanksgiving tradition. Wow. Young Tone, come on, man. It's makes you one of the more American traditions.
I mean, I'll take part this year now.
All right, where are you going to go? So people can where can the young ladies find you?
I'm a Canyon Lakes Brewery guy.
Okay, all right, there it is. Is that downtown Danville?
No, that's my Canyon Lakes golf course spot.
Oh.
Also a brewery. Ooh. Great spot, San Ramon, just so you know.
The golf course doubles as a brewery?
Damn right it does.
Damn. That's my kind of golf
The
course.
brewery doubles as a golf course.
Okay.
If anything.
All right. These are things I
Now,
hadn't
Murph,
heard.
I did tell young Tony that eventually I got to come over to his neck of the woods, and we got to go hit up Dan's out in Walnut Creek.
Yes, we do.
Shout out to Jason and Amy, our Hawaiian listeners.
They said they're going to send us shirts. By the way, who's this jam you're giving me here, buddy? I'm enjoying it.
This is Heart Part 6, Kendrick Lamar. This is just the instrumental. We can't play.
Is this from the new album?
This
Yeah.
is.
All right. My man can find himself a little lick, a little sample See, this is where you and I this is where we can all meet in the common ground right here. Sounds like a 70s or early 80s Friday. Anyway, 49ers football at Buffalo on Sunday, 7-point dogs. Ooh, I got to find that. I got to find when's the last time the Niners were that big a dog. Maybe at Philly, somewhere along the way. Oh, speaking of at Philly. So I'm slow, really slow. And Netflix Receiver, which dropped in, wait for it, August. What's this? November 26th? I'm still chopping my way through it.
The slow grind.
Just because I got things to do. I got things going on. So it's rare to have that hour to sit down and just don't bother me. I'm watching Netflix Receiver, But I had that yesterday. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch the next episode. Episode 5. I'm how slow I am on this thing. You know what it was? It was the episode where Kittle, Deebo, and the Niners go to Philadelphia.
Ooh, when they showed up in all black with the all black Nikes on.
So it's almost a year to the day because it was December 1st or something like so. Literally almost the year anniversary of that game. Bro. Deebo Samuel in that game, electric. 3, not 1, not 2, 3 touchdowns in that game in Philadelphia. And I mean burst. I mean, blowing past guys. I mean, exactly the Deebo that people are saying, where did this Deebo go? That was 1 year. So what changed between December 1, 2023 and now? I mean, age, obviously. He didn't get hurt, did he? I mean, I don't think he's hurt. Remember the footage of him on the treadmill sprinting this summer?
Yeah.
Best shape of his life, all that stuff. And he came out early in the season playing well.
I mean, he came out this year and looked phenomenal in training camp. When we were busy talking every day about Brandon Ayuk's holdout and what his contract was going to look like, Deebo was out there putting in the work. And to your point, it showed. What was it? 8 catches on 10 targets, week 2 against the Minnesota Vikings, over 100 yards. A couple weeks later, has the big plays against the Seattle Seahawks, getting into the end zone. And then Murph, it all kind of hit the brakes to me when he had pneumonia earlier this season and he had to tap out of the game before the Kansas City Chiefs matchup. We then find out that it was so bad that he had to go to the hospital. And again, I'm not a doctor. I just pretend to be one on the radio. But I don't know what those lingering effects could be from pneumonia, if he's having troubles breathing, or what's going on with Deebo Samuel. Because the facts are he hasn't looked the same since returning from that illness. Maybe that's something we can ask John Lynch today later on when we have him on the show. But to me, we have not seen that same glimpse of Deebo that we saw a preview of early on this season, but definitely not over the last 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Dude, just seeing 1 year ago and they blew the Eagles out 42-19. They were down 6-0 in the end of the first quarter. And then they just exploded. And Kittle threw some great blocks, and Kittle remained. Listen, Kittle's up there among the league leaders, and he's 3rd in touchdowns in the league, and he's 3rd in tight end receiving yards. Your guy's leading. Brock Bowers.
Yeah,
he's leading all NFL tight ends in yards.
I mean, I know you mentioned Bo Nix's name earlier today. I think Brock Bowers might be a dark horse in the Rookie of the Year conversation. He might be the 3rd rookie tight end of all time to reach 1,000 yards in his rookie season.
Ooh, man.
I mean, he's putting up numbers even without quarterbacks.
We get to see them on Black Friday.
Yeah, that's
Silver
right.
and Black Friday.
It's a Silver and Black Friday.
Yeah.
Taking on the Chiefs.
Young Tony was complaining about that game. I don't think it's a bad game. It's a great helmet game, as we mentioned, right?
Yes.
And it's a rivalry game, and they beat the Chiefs last time, and plus the Chiefs are box office. Anytime the Chiefs are on TV, you got to watch, right?
Yeah, and last year we had the great Christmas Day matchup between the Chiefs and the Raiders, that the Raiders, of course, won. And I will clarify, it wasn't Young Tony complaining about the game. It was PD Mike Holler complaining about the game because he'd rather see the Titans and Colts on a Friday.
Joe, yeah, exactly. No, Holler, pipe down, brother. So it wasn't you, Tony?
No, of course not. I said it was a great game, and then Holler's like, no, it's not. It's not a great game. It's one of the worst teams in the league versus one of the
That's
best.
a bad take.
And I said, dude,
Titans
it's a great
fan.
helmet game. It's a great rivalry game.
It's a rivalry
You know what?
game.
Go watch some freaking Top Fuel.
Ooh,
all right, buddy?
That's it.
Why don't you go watch Don...
some NASCAR.
Go watch Don Big Daddy Prudhomme or The Snake or whoever the hell they are.
Don't get Young Tony started on F1 versus NASCAR, Murph.
Yeah. By the way, speaking more digressions, we failed to mention this yesterday. Do you know what happened over the weekend? We were so obsessed with the 49ers getting blown out. We didn't talk about the Warriors blowing a lead. We barely mentioned Cal and all that stuff. They got into hum babies. Dude, the F1 season ender in Vegas.
In Vegas again,
where
right?
we partied. Yeah. And Max Verstappen won it.
Oh, we were on that track, Murph.
On that track. There we were. What were we doing? A, we were being big shots. B, we were eating free food, mostly Asian themed, like dumplings and sushi.
Oh, little wontons.
And C, there was you and me hanging out with our gal, Christy Yamaguchi.
How about that?
And we were chopping it up. She was receptive to our rap. She was. That's how far we've come in life.
I know, Murph. Look at us. You've come a long way with Christy.
I've come a long way with her specifically. 32 years ago, she was not buying it.
Full circle on the
92
track.
Barcelona games when I tried. Hey, that's a whole nother story.
Hey, now.
So Deebo against Seattle, 5 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown in that Thursday night game when we were watching up with Pat Willis and Bryant Young up at Whetstone Cellars in Napa, which I highly recommend. Then the Kansas City game, as you mentioned, since then, brother, no touchdowns. Yeah. No touchdowns. He did go 771 against Dallas, which, I mean, that's okay. 6 for 62 against Tampa Bay. Okay. 5 for 62, 4 for 71. I was looking at targets. Seattle, 4 for 22. Tampa Bay, 1 for 21. And then rushing, dude, it ain't happening. 27 carries for 79 yards. No. So only 2.9.
Yeah, and that's a problem, obviously, without saying, especially now that you're missing Brennan Ayuk for the remainder of the season. This is a guy, Deebo Samuel, who's getting paid like a top 10 wide receiver, and he's nowhere near to performing as a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah, no. Not at all. In fact, Shanahan was asked about it yesterday. Has he lost a step?
I think he has the burst that he needs. He didn't get a lot of opportunities last night. He had a pretty good kick return that I thought would have changed the huge momentum of the game. Unfortunately, got called back with that holding call. I thought he had a good screen. And then the 2 plays he's got to do, he's got to catch both of those balls. And if he catches both of those balls, he's got a chance to do what he's good at after that and run with it. And he didn't get that opportunity because he didn't catch both those balls. So if he does, then that would be 2 more opportunities. And as far as anyone, we didn't get anybody going in that game. We weren't consistent, and we didn't participate very much in the first half, and in the second half with those turnovers and everything, just killing our drives. And I think we had a total of 50-something plays, but we really weren't able to stay out there consistently enough to get any player going.
So he does in there. He says he's got to catch those 2 balls. Yeah. And that's it. Everybody knows it. He knows it. We all know it. But man, oh man, the difference between him a year ago in Philadelphia and a year later right now, and whether it's pneumonia, like you said, whether it's something else, I don't know.
I'm thinking about it, Murph. There is one major difference between the Deebo you saw last year and the Deebo that you're seeing this season. Last year, he was wearing number 19.
Seriously.
Now he's wearing number 1.
Hey, man. People believe in numbers. Numerology.
Who knows? But, of course, I'm riffing a little bit, but it does seem like he's not only dropped his number, but he's dropped his play also.
Austin Powers told us about mojo. I lost my mojo,
Gotta have that mojo.
He lost his mojo. Brent Jones came on with us. He was great. It was great to have Brent back after all these years of him on loan to the afternoon. We'll get him back again. But Marcus asked him about Deebo. He said, you got to lock in Deebo, and you followed up saying, is there more to the message to Deebo?
So I think Kyle probably is a little different this year, and my guess is he's had to account for these.
All right, cut out there. Wrong one, buddy. That's Kyle. We're going for Deebo. We're going for Deebo. Brent on Deebo. We found the right one. Here it is.
It really is the message. It's a standard that he just hasn't played to this year. And there's been a few guys, and you don't want to make it about one guy. But if you're going to be the guy, getting in the kicker and the snapper's face, who are the least offensive guys on the team 100% of the time, then you better be locked in as well. And I just feel like he hasn't been all year playing to the standard that the 49ers expect. So that's been frustrating. That's been hurting us too, especially once Ayuk went out with the injury. So we needed guys to pick it up. So I'm hoping Ricky Pearsall, shows his face. I thought we were going to get an opportunity to get some more targets and him more into the action, but it hasn't seemed that way. But I think we're gonna need him, ironically, to step up down the stretch if we're going to have a shot. And I'm a big Juwan guy, and I'm a fan of all these guys. It's hard to not call it like you see it when you see it week in and week out. And there's some guys that are just laying it on the line. Like George Kittle is an all-out stud. If I was young, I'd want to be hanging out with that guy. And he's got some great energy about him. He's an encourager. He's a baller. He's always there. He's always showing up. He's never putting anybody down. And I just got a lot of respect for him and the way that he handles himself.
So, yeah, he started talking about Deebo, winds up talking about all the receivers there, including Ricky Pearsall, who got nothing. Wow. Dude, and your boy, Ladd McConkey, last night, I was watching him, and he was also, I went against, people care about my fantasy. I was going against Derrick Henry and Ladd McConkey, and Ladd McConkey's doing what Ricky Pearsall's supposed to be doing.
I mean, Ladd McConkey is a guy who I had rated ahead of Ricky Pearsall when it came to my wide receiver rankings going to this draft. And I know nobody cares about that because I'm not Mel Kiper or Todd McShay, but I did do the 49er pre-draft show. I play in a dynasty league every year, so I rank every offensive rookie when it comes to fantasy value. And Ladd McConkey was a guy that I thought would have been a great fit with Kyle Shanahan. Not saying that Ricky's not, but they went with Ricky instead. And Ladd so far has had more production, also more opportunities in that offense, not as many other wide receivers, and he's just getting playing time. Meanwhile, Ricky Pearsall hasn't seen a pass the past couple of weeks.
No, you're right. Obviously, you have to put that asterisk is that he's gone to a different receiving core. I mean, there's no Deebo Samuel, there's no George Kittle, there's no Jawan Jennings, there's no Brandon Ayuk for the first half. But he does have 49 catches for 698 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's been very, very good. Add him to the Rookie of the Year conversation, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's been extremely efficient. I know there were some worries about him coming out of the draft that he might have some back issues, but so far, so good. He's been phenomenal underneath Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert.
He was taking 6 picks after, or what pick? He was taking 34th. What pick was Pearsall? 31? Either way.
Yeah.
He was taking a couple of picks after. And by the way, this whole, you know what? I'm in a good mood. I'm giving you guys free entertainment. And here's it comes the Verstappen police. He clinched the Formula One championship there. So what? I mean, another guy won the race. He clinched the championship there.
The way you set it up, it sounded like it was over.
You know
I know.
If you're driving to work this morning or you're getting ready this morning, that's really the text you need to send. You know what? Did Verstappen not win a championship on Sunday at Vegas?
There are 2 more races left. He did clinch the Drivers' Championship, yes.
Just freaking roll with it, people. I mean, just roll with it. We're out here with it. You know what? I'll send you a freaking refund for the charges we're charging you today.
Free 99.
Yeah. Get a free meal because of this. And by the way, what I said was not inaccurate. Verstappen did win the championship. He didn't win the race. He won the championship. God, you know what? And you know what? That way, when Marcus and I go back to a party there with Christy Yamaguchi, we're not inviting that guy.
Yeah, guess what?
707.
You're not invited.
He's not coming. Matt Mayoko joins Copeland and Crowley at 4:50 this afternoon. All right, so we just talked Niners, but we didn't mention the quarterback. We got to get into that next on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Center.
From the Chilton Auto Body Traffic Desk.
Oh, Provident Credit Union here to help you grow your savings safely. That's what everybody wants with your money, right? Results you can count on. I'm talking about discovering pick-a-term certificates from Provident Credit Union. You can earn up to 4.00% annual percentage yield with a 3, 6, 9, or 12-month term. Put your money to work and see your savings grow. Do not miss this limited time offer. Get your Provident Pick-a-Term certificate today. If you're looking for a little guidance to get started, the Provident team is excellent. It can walk you through the process and make saving easy. So visit providentcu.org or stop by your local branch. This rate is effective as of November 14, 2024. Minimum balance requirement of $10,000. Early withdrawal penalties may apply. Federally insured by the NCUA. Discover the best in retail and business banking right here in your community. Learn more at providentcu.org.
time for KNBR's Opening Bell Report. Sponsored by Protect Your Assets with David Hollander. Concerned inflation will ruin your dream retirement? Learn more. Listen to David's show every Saturday morning or call 1-866-PROTECT. Murph and Marcus continue live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpot Studios. Casino Matrix. Progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Brandon Allen able to scramble there on 3rd down and long. Sets up a 4th and 3. The ball just inside the Green Bay 40 on the 39.5-yard line. They got to get to the Green Bay 37. They need 2.5 yards here on 4th down. They're going to go empty. McCaffrey goes in motion out left. They got 3 in a bunch formation right. McCaffrey stacked behind 3rd and Jawan. 4th down here. Allen back, throws out left. Broken up by Xavier McKinney. He slapped the ball away from McCaffrey. Green Bay takes over on downs.
More highlights from Lambeau Field. 38-10. One of the third worst loss of the Shanahan era. How about that? It was bad. Is this more Kendrick? It sounds pretty good.
This is Gloria by Kendrick.
Man, this guy.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
I mean,
who is this
Kendrick
kid?
is smooth, Murph.
I'd sign this kid.
Yeah, this is Kung Fu Kenny.
Is he the Lad McConkey of beats?
This is K. Murph. Put some respect on his name.
All right, 49er talk coming your way. Yes, for sure. Now, the boys want us to talk about this Fred Warner quote. John Joe and Tony say everybody's talking about it.
The boys are demanding that we talk about this quote.
And before we get going, I also want to say that the boys are also talking about how my Marin roots were showing when I called it La Rocas. I said, dude, stay out of my city. It's La Rocas. La Rocas. Yeah. That's on me. I got to raise my hand to the scorer's table. That's on me. That's it. So I'll see you at La Rocca. I'll buy you a round at La Rocca's for mispronouncing it.
Wednesday night, we'll be there crashing John Joe Curley's reunion.
It's a great bar, and I've been to it. I just mispronounced it like a nerd from north of the bridge. So La Rocca's Wednesday night. I'll see you there, and we can talk about what everybody's talking about. Fred Warner.
Nerd.
Everybody's talking about Fred Warner. And I got to confess, I'm a little miffed because these guys, maybe it's the Verstappen guy, but these guys are like, everybody's talking about this Fred Warner quote. I'm like, well, yeah, you mean the one we talked about yesterday?
Yeah, everybody, including us on the show yesterday.
And then I said it, and they're like, yeah, but everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, but everybody's still talking about it.
And I said, well, we brought it up.
Maybe everybody's talking about it because we talked about it.
So, Fred Warner did note, he said they gave us some run looks that we weren't prepared for. I wrote that in my notes yesterday. We mentioned it. Now, did we hammer it? No, we didn't hammer it, but we did mention it, and it's one aspect of many aspects in that game. The missed tackles were a gigantic part of it. The fact that Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, and Trent Williams were playing is a gigantic part of it. And, of course, the fact that the 49ers, couldn't even really get anything going until the second quarter in that game was a big part of it. But Shanahan was asked about that very quote. So do you have the actual Fred Warner quote? I think we actually played the quote yesterday. I think we did.
Have you heard?
But apparently these guys didn't give us any credit for it. So the Warner cut from yesterday, do you have it? Okay, here it is.
I don't think there was a ton of miscommunication throughout. I think they presented some different run looks than we had prepared for in the first half, which we adjusted to as the game went on, and which was helpful, but we got to be better from the jump.
Okay, so they presented some looks we weren't ready for. It's like, okay, well, he's calling out Nick Sorensen right there.
Yeah, because I think there's questions when it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that the Green Bay Packers were going to come out and run the ball. I mean, I'm not somebody who sat down and watched every single snap of Green Bay Packers football this year, but I do own Josh Jacobs on a few fantasy teams. I know how efficient he's been running the rock this year. And also, we're talking about a system that stems from the Shanahan tree of coaching. Matt LaFleur comes from the Mike Shanahan tree. I mean, we're talking about a Shanahan running system. So unless the Green Bay Packers really did revamp their entire game plan, I know they did some RPO, some orbit motion stuff in the backfield, but it's not like they broke the sound barrier, did anything brand new this past weekend against the 49ers.
Well, Warner made that quote, which is interesting. Didn't have to say that. He did say it. And we'll talk to Leonard Floyd later today and John Lynch today. That's right. So it's holiday week, everybody. And don't forget, it's Tuesday. Young Tony tried to rush us up to a Thursday. It's like, no. Enjoy the fact that it's Tuesday and you're going to be off for a 4-day weekend, right?
Pump that back a little bit.
I got you, dude. Just kind of slow. It's the story about the young bull and the old bull. You know that one, right, Tony? About the young bull and the old bull?
I think so.
But the young bull and the old bull are up on the hill, and they look down and see a field full of cows.
Oh.
And the young bull says, hey, let's run down there and make love to one of those cows. And the old bull says, how about we walk down there and make love to them all? So there you go.
Wow.
Yes.
I've never heard that one.
You've never heard that? Well, the make love is, is a different. I subbed out.
I'm more of a tortoise in the hair kind of guy.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one, though. The
I
old
didn't
bull,
know
the
about
young
the
bull.
old
Yeah, let's
bull
run
and the
down
young
there
bull.
and make love to a cow.
Okay.
How about we walk down there and make love to them all? Make love, by the way. A bull and a cow.
Make love, not war.
So anyways, that's the point on taking advantage of your Tuesday before you get to a Thursday.
Walk down that hill, Tony.
And you're listening to KNBR AM and KNBR FM San Francisco, the sports leader, a Cumulus media station. So here's the deal. Shanahan was asked. Fred Warner said you guys weren't prepared for their run looks.
No, I mean, you're going to see different formations and different run looks every game. When you do see that, you can't get out of your gaps. And there's a couple times that we had guys get out of the gaps. I'd say on the second play of the game, they got a long one. They caught us just in a blitz. We were doing a blitz, and when you blitz and they run the ball and you can get someone out of a gap, you're going to get 15 yards like that right up to the deep safety. After that, a couple looks that they had, we had guys overrun it. They cut out our DN, and there's not a guy in the gap, which leads to an explosive. And we had too many of those in the first half without a doubt. And when you give a back like that kind of space and they're getting 10 yards before contact, he's usually going to make that one guy left look pretty bad, and that's what we had way too many of.
So he says, yeah, you're going to get different looks. It's the NFL, and you got to stay disciplined and do your thing. And they didn't. I mean, the execution was poor, the tackling was poor. I said Matt Barrows had a list of the missed tackles. You know who missed a few? Is Jair Brown.
Yeah,
the kid, the safety who's still learning. He hasn't been amazing.
He comes up as a thumper, but yeah, I remember early on, Josh Jacobs took a hit off the thigh, spun off him, and picked up another 10 yards. I mean, there was missed tackles all over the field, and Kyle was right. When it comes to stopping the run, it comes down to gap responsibility. And if you're not filling your gap, guess what? It's going to be wide open for the running lanes for the other team. And when you don't have that gap responsibility, it's a problem. And hell, we're not only just talking about not having gap responsibility, but we're talking about the lack of depth on his defensive line. Because we talked about the fact that this weekend, it was a completely different defensive line than the one that the 49ers had last year when they played the Packers in the postseason. So not only did they not have their gap responsibility, but they were getting beat off the line. They lost the battle of the trenches on both sides of the ball, I think offensively and defensively, and that's why I think it led to a 38-10 blowout.
Man, oh man. Matty, so the Niners said they had fewer missed tackles than PFF. Remember we brought up PFF to Tim Ryan years ago when it first came up? Like, hey, Tim, there's this thing called Pro Football Focus. He's like,
yeah, who is that? Yeah, who's that?
Yeah, who's watching that tape?
He's like, tell me who that guy is. Who is it?
So he wasn't overly impressed. But Kyle did acknowledge Pro Football Focus had 19 missed tackles. He said the Niners only had 12 on their film, but he said 12 is still too many. Yeah. Matt Barrows, who I trust more than anybody, said Fred Warner had 4. And I saw Nick Sorensen had a quote saying that's part of who Warner is. Like, he sometimes he forgives Warner because he's so aggressive in his tackling. There will be some missed tackles, but you live with them. 3 for Jair Brown, who I just mentioned. 3 for Isaac Yiadom. 2 for Renardo Green, who, by the way, did you see this? Papa brought this up yesterday, and it's something we didn't talk about. Here's something we didn't talk about. Quarterbacks picking on Renardo Green now. That's happened now the last couple weeks. And his passer rating against is not good.
Well, yeah, I think a big reason why they're picking him so much is because you're trying to avoid Demo on the other side. And look, he's had to step into a role and play for Travarius Ward over the past couple weeks. Seems like there's potential that Travarius Ward could be coming back eventually, so maybe Renardo Green slides back down into the slot, slides back into that nickel role, and doesn't have to take on those responsibilities. But you're right. He has been getting picked on more often than what we saw early in the season when he was putting up some productive numbers.
Yeah, the numbers are not great. He's allowed completions on 10 of 13 targets. This is per Barrows. 10 of 13 targets for 129 yards, and opposing quarterbacks have a passer rating of 107 in these are the past 2 games. So he's got to get better. He's also, by the way, on the many, many, many injuries. He has a neck injury. Demo has a knee, has to have an MRI. Dom Pooney had an MRI for his shoulder. Aaron Banks is in the concussion protocol. Bro. 2020, anyone?
But hey,
the 2020 season.
At least Brock Purdy's back to throwing passes, right?
And you're going to Buffalo to be with the Mafia on a Sunday night. So here's Brock Purdy. Here's Kyle on Brock, and I guess this counts as progress. He actually lifted his arm and threw the football on Monday.
He did some light throwing today, and it went all good. He had, we didn't push it that hard, but did some light throwing, which was a good sign that the pain hadn't come back, and we'll rest it tomorrow and see how he feels as the week goes.
So that's progress.
Yeah.
Trent and Nick, we don't know. He said they'll know Wednesday. And we're going to have John Lynch on Tuesday, and the Niners are already saying, don't ask. Because, what is he going to say? It's going to be a day-to-day thing.
Yeah, there's no updates this early in the week. And to your point, Wednesday is usually the vet day off anyways, so I wouldn't expect Bosa or Trent Williams to be back out there. I think our first indication is going to be on Thursday, not only for those guys, but for also Brock Purdy. Kyle talked about the game plan, letting Brock throw a little bit yesterday. He'll have today off. Then they'll test his arm again on Wednesday or Thursday moving forward. But, I mean, this is the same situation we were in last week when I think everybody thought Brock Purdy was still going to be able to go out there and suit up and play. I mean, that was the report that came from this weekend was Adam Schefter said that the 49ers are hopeful that Brock Purdy can play this weekend, but they also thought he would have played last weekend.
So let's be realistic. Even if he plays on Sunday, they lose Sunday, right? Let's be realistic. It'd be a shock if they won this game. They're 7-point underdogs. Everything. Buffalo's coming off a bye. A lot of people have the Bills. I don't know. The Bills AFC, obviously right now you got to go with the Ravens after beating L.A. last night. They're looking pretty good. Or, of course, the Chiefs forever. But, I got a theory that the carriage turns into a pumpkin for the Chiefs at some point. I don't think they're going back.
I'm still waiting.
Don't. I know.
Waiting.
I know. And people say, well, you can keep waiting because as long as Mahomes is out there, they're still going to do it. And so that leaves you with the Bills. Like, could the Bills finally be that team? It's interesting. Do you remember there's a story written about Sean McDermott a couple years ago about how he had lost control of the building? Everybody hated him. Do you remember this? Somebody wrote it. I don't know if it was ESPN.com or The Athletic or
was
somebody.
Was this when, like, Diggs and Josh Allen were yelling at each other on the sideline?
Something like that. Since that story was published, they're 14-2, by the way. So reports of Sean McDermott's demise are greatly exaggerated. And while I'm on Sean McDermott, am I the only one who thinks he's like a 7 for Bill Burr?
Oh, dude, that's not a bad call.
It's been nagging at me for years.
Say maybe crank that up to an 8.
Yeah, it's about an 8.
That's a good call.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And by the way, shout out Bill Burr was just in Modesto. He posted on Instagram. Never been to Modesto. He's like, here I am.
Friend of the program, Bill Burr.
Yeah, well, that's in our listenership area. And he was on his way to Stockton, too. So, but anyway, let's be honest. They lose on Sunday, right? 5-7. We bury them all. Here's the crazy thing. They're still not out of it. No. They're not. Because they could the next 5 games are legit winnable. And I say that including the Lions on a Monday night because the Lions might have everything wrapped up at that point. So, but the other ones, Rams on a Thursday, Bears at Miami. I know the Dolphins are better now. They've won 3 in a row with Tua.
They're playing well.
That'll be a tougher game. I get it. But the Niners still have a lot of talent. They do. So the point of the matter is, if they finish 5-7, if they go to 5-7, they could still win the West. Believe me, I don't think they're going, but I'm just saying it's not totally over if they lose on Sunday. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
But
you know
it's
what I mean?
not.
You know what I mean? So they asked Shanahan about that. Like, dude, this is it now. It's nut cutting time. Do you have to win every week?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think everyone knows. You just got to look at it for a couple minutes to realize where we're at. It's nice when you're one game out of first in your own division. So that does say a lot, especially being able to play 2 of those teams left of our 6 games. But you also know you look at the whole NFC picture, and if you don't win the division, it's 10-7 is not guaranteed to get in as a wild card by any means this year. So I think everyone understands completely outside and inside what the situation is. That's why that Seattle game was so tough of a loss, and that's why last night was even worse. We know what we got ahead of us. We know exactly what that playoff situation is. When you do need to go on a run and put a lot of wins to even think of that, then you better make sure you're only thinking of one thing, and that's Buffalo. And so we've had to take care of a lot of stuff today. I'm hoping the guys will take care of their body stuff here over the day and a half they're away from us, and we'll come back Wednesday fully understanding the situation we're in and coming back ready to fight. Because that's all we can do right now is just fight our asses off. And I'll be very surprised that not every guy in this building, when I see them Wednesday, isn't ready for that exact mindset that we're going to need to pull off what we feel we can.
Okay. It's right there out in front of him. Remember, I told you, I heard Tom Brady say Sunday, yeah, Belichick used to tell us the season doesn't start till after Thanksgiving. I'm like, I've never heard that one. But if that's true, do you see any scenario the Niners win on Sunday?
You know what? I was thinking about it because we're talking about this game like it's a lock. And look, the Buffalo Bills are a tough team to beat when you are fully healthy. Then you throw in the long list of injuries and the uncertainty of a Brock Purdy and uncertainty of a Nick Bosa and Trent Williams, and all that together seems like it's highly unlikely that they win. But I also just saw the Carolina Panthers take the Chiefs to overtime this past weekend. Like, we've seen crazier things happen in the NFL. The 49ers, in my opinion, still have one of the best rosters in football when we're talking about top-tier talent. So they can go out there any given Sunday and beat anybody, but it is a tough, tough ask. Going to Buffalo, the Bills are coming off a bye week, and they're playing some of their best ball of the season. Meanwhile, the 49ers are not, but I'm not ruling it out 100% that they're going to lose. But man, oh man, is it a tough hill to climb.
And the Bills are highly motivated. They are playing for the 1 seed. They're 9-2. The Chiefs are 10-1. They have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. So when your Raiders beat the Chiefs on Friday, the Bills could move into first in the AFC.
Nobody circles the wagon like the silver and black.
I'm just going to throw this one out there just for fun, and then we'll get into this Buster Posey stuff, because Buster spoke to Jason Stark yesterday and said a very interesting thing. But I'm going to just throw this out there. The Washington Commanders, who we all loved, are heading in the wrong direction.
Oof.
They have lost, what is it, either 3 in a row or 3 of their last 4. Anyway, they lost to the Cowboys on Sunday, which is inexcusable, right?
As a double-digit favorite.
The Cliff Kingsbury stats are showing up where his offense is starting to fade again. I'm just saying, they're currently, I have the NFL playoff ladder in front of me. They're currently the 7 seed, Commanders. That's 7-5. The Niners are literally only 1 back in the loss column from the 7th seed. So, I mean, there's other teams in the way. There's the Cardinals, there's the Buccaneers, there's the Rams, but they play the Cardinals and the Rams, so they could beat those teams. Now, they've already beaten the Bucs. They have the tiebreaker over them. I'm just for fun on Thanksgiving week. Just for fun. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So the Commanders, if they keep backing up, something might open up.
You're saying they might backdoor themselves into a wild card spot?
There might be a parking space out there. I don't know. I'm just talking.
One game at a time, Murph.
That's what we do. It's Thanksgiving week.
One game at a time.
We'll all be at La Rocca's on Thanksgiving week, right? All right, guys. Like we said, Buster Posey. So, by the way, my kid, 16, soon to be 17 this week, he goes, so I was driving around with Mom all day because they had to run a bunch of errands, and he didn't get to listen to his Drake and all that stuff.
Oh.
He goes, listening to KNBR, that's all you guys talk about is the 49ers? That's it? That's it?
We talked a little bit about Kendrick yesterday.
And he goes, nothing? He goes, not even like mixing like a minute on the Giants offseason? I'm like, well, welcome to the world, kid.
Yeah.
Welcome to John Joe Curley's world.
Yeah, go talk to my PD.
So you know what we're going to do? Talk about the Giants offseason next.
Ooh.
Not because the kid, but because Buster spoke to Jason Stark, said something interesting. We'll get into it next on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Barry Bonds was the guy, and then a bunch of people cheated. Barry was like, all right, here's me on steroids. Here's 73. What are we doing here?
From the Chilton Auto Body Traffic Desk.
All right, Bigelow Tea time. That's right, Bigelow Tea. Early hit for Bigelow Tea to tell you that Bigelow is the #1 tea in the Bay Area. Every season is Bigelow Tea season. Thanksgiving, perfect time to get a little cup of tea. We have it here at KNBR, English breakfast, chamomile, shout out Gwen Stefani. I love all of Bigelow's different flavor options. It's perfect for those of us who make our living behind a microphone. So it keeps me going, keeps us going at KNBR. Look no further than our cup of Bigelow tea here in the studio. So grab a mug full of your favorite Bigelow tea and tea proudly.
I'm just sipping on chamomile.
And now, time for the Protect Your Assets with David Hollander Business and Technology Report. Good morning, Seamheads. Murph and Marcus keep rolling. Streaming live at twitch.tv/the-sports-leader.
All righty, happy Tuesday of Thanksgiving week, everybody. And if you're like young Tony, you're looking for a Wednesday night bar to go to, you got to find his new tradition. Back in Kentucky, they're going somewhere. Marcus will be at the Peacock. John Joe will be at Laracus. And you know where to find us. I can't go to the 2 a.m. club. Jack Loader, we have the kid Jack Loader here, class of whatever, 2018 or whatever at TAM. He goes, you going to the Deuce? I go, bro, that's your generation. I can't go to the Deuce. What, a 57-year-old guy walks in to crash the 25-year-old party? That ain't cool.
No.
That ain't cool at all.
I'll say you're invited, Murph.
They say, who's the narc? Who's the narc?
I've had a couple beers with Murph at the Deuce.
You have.
It was a good time.
Yes, you have. It is a good time. That's, I think, for the kids, for the 20s and the 30s.
For the youngsters.
I don't know. Maybe we could take over. We could just carve out a corner. Carve out our corner. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. 49ers Bills on Sunday is, of course, our focus when we talk to John Lynch at 8 a.m. and when we talk to Mike Silver at 8:50, and when we talk to our player of the week, Leonard Floyd, at 9:30. We should open the show, the first half hour, talking about the Warriors blowing that game last night. We missed it talking about the Niners for the last half hour or so. But, yeah, definitely the Warriors are on our mind. 9:15, Mark Spears will join us to talk about that disaster and the cracks starting to show in the gangster Dunleavy's depth over star plan here as the Warriors blow 2 leads. But, Buster Posey, always welcome on the show. Always welcome to talk about Buster. Always waiting for what his team's going to look like, right? No moves so far. The Angels are making moves. They just signed Kikuchi. Did you see that?
Yeah.
3 years, $63 million.
And that's after they brought in Jorge Soler.
And a couple others, too. Yeah. They've made a bunch of moves, actually. Mm-hmm. So shout out Perry, Manazzi, and telling Zach how to do it.
I know. Do we have the wrong Manassian, brother? 808 KNBR.
I don't know. Did you want Kikuchi?
No.
All right.
No, not really.
Kikuchi, Coochie Coo.
I don't really want anybody with the Angels organization. Although I will take a Mike Trout.
I wouldn't even waste a what did young Tony learn today on this, but there's no way you know Charo, do you? No way you know the Latin American starlet Charo. No. Coochie Coochie Coo. Anyway, she was a flirtatious, vivacious Latina starlet from the 70s who would always show up on Love Boat. But anyway, point is that Buster Posey spoke yesterday to Jason Stark, and so we're always going over like, what did Buster say? Because what's this team going to look like right now? I mean, we didn't even talk about that on Friday when we were flying back from Hawaii. They tendered all the guys. They tendered Yaz, and they tendered Camilo Duvall and Tyler Rogers and Lamont Wade.
Yes.
And then even agreed to a deal with Yastrzemski, right? Didn't they?
I believe it's a 1-year deal, correct?
Which, by the way, doesn't mean that he's going to be on the team. They could still move him, but it also means that he could be on the team. And then you're like, wait a minute, is Buster just going to run back the exact same team? Because he hasn't made any moves. I know. Juan Soto, it's been reported, has offers from 5 teams, right? Mm-hmm. Not one of them is the Giants.
Not that I saw, Murph.
Okay, so we're still waiting. What's he going to do? Shortstop is the big one, right?
A lot of rumors about Hassan Kim out there.
Okay, so, and yeah, by the way, Yaz did get a $9.25 million deal. He technically has a contract for 2025. Doesn't mean they can't trade him, but it means that he has a deal. So what's going to happen? Like, who are the Giants going to be? Well, we know Bob Melvins is still the manager. We know Alyssa Natkin's gone. By the way, I sent Alyssa, I meant to tell you, I sent her a text congratulating her, and she sent back a nice one back, and she sent me a picture of her little baby. Dude, oh my God. I hope she's, I won't show it on the TV, but the cutest thing I've ever seen. She's dressed in one of those League of Their Own outfits, and she's like 18 months old, with the little pink, the peaches, whatever uniform. Cutest thing ever. So anyway, they lost Alyssa Natkin.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're just kind of waiting for this thing to take shape, right? Brian Price stepped down, right? JP Martinez is the new pitching coach. They're waiting for another hitting coach. But we're just waiting and waiting for signs from Buster Posey. So he goes on Jason Stark yesterday, and here's one of the things he mentions about a guy who might want to come back and help out, named Madison Bumgarner.
He's been really fun to talk to over these last couple of months because he surprised me that he wants to have some sort of involvement. And I kind of figured once he was done that he would want to. We kind of never hear from him again, and he'd just disappear and I don't know, go be in the woods somewhere. But he, I think, and I'm extremely excited about him being able to just share some of his experience with some of our young pitchers. And look, I don't have anything set in stone with him yet, and I don't want to, jump to anything with him, but I'm just happy that it seems like there's a willingness for him to want to give back because he's just a wealth of knowledge. And talk about a mentality. I mean, I never played with a pitcher that had the mentality like he did.
Okay, there it is. Madison Bumgarner, who I don't know if we were going to hear from ever again. Now, he came to the 10-year reunion. They played Fire on the Mountain. He threw that first pitch. That was the same day as Steph hit the 3 in Paris. I remember that was my last day of vacation, and I sent out the tweet saying I wasn't going to come back till these two things happened, and it was Bumgarner throwing the first pitch and Steph hitting the night. But, dude, what's your first reaction?
I was a little surprised. Now, I think it's a cool thought to bring back Bumgarner, just like he's bringing back a lot of pieces from the World Series era. But I also thought that Madison Bumgarner would rather be spending time on a farm, not with the Giants farm system.
Yeah.
That was my first takeaway, that Bumgarner would even be interested in taking on a role like this.
Yeah, and also there was a quote, Steven Risotto, the kid who covers the Giants, found this quote. It was a pretty good job, where part of the deal in Arizona was that he didn't listen to coaching. With that they wanted him to make a bunch of adjustments because he lost his velo, and he wouldn't do it. So it's like, wait a minute, a guy who wouldn't listen to coaches is now going to come coach. Now, again, Buster says he doesn't want to jump ahead. I'm imagining this is like a spring training advice, like he shows up at spring training, works with a few guys. I don't think he's not in uniform in the dugout for 162.
Well, we've seen this before with someone like Will Clark, who has showed up as like a roving instructor and has gone around within the organization and talked to a lot of young hitters. I think that would be the role of Madison Bumgarner. I don't think he's going to be the bullpen coach hanging out, making moves at the end of games.
Not out there. So, two reactions. Like, number one, the easy one is, hell yeah. You want Bumgarner 24/7, 365. It's awesome. He makes everybody feel good. He's a badass. He's one of the greatest Giants of all time. He won 3 World Series. He was amazing. Yes, yes, yes. The other one, and you're starting to see this from the cynical social media out there, is that Buster's just running it back with his buddies. That's the knock. Like, oh, Randy Wynn's my buddy. Let's bring him in. Madison Bumgarner's my buddy. Let's bring him in. Jeff Barry is my agent. Let's bring him in.
Ryan Vogelsong.
Yeah. Has he been officially named anything?
I thought they added him to the pitching staff.
Well, if he has, that would be another example, but I'm not sure. But so, maybe whereas Gabe and Farhan were super out of the box, remember bringing in Kai Correa, who'd never been at Puget Sound or whatever, and now Kai Correa is getting all this love in Cleveland as part of this staff, bringing in Alyssa Nacken as the first female coach ever. All these out-of-the-box things that Gabe and Farhan did, seems like Buster's very much in the box.
Yeah.
So, which might not be a bad thing, might be good. Well, but I'm just saying, I can see that the new generation, kids, boomer, they're going to start calling Buster a boomer soon. Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
Bring back Bum.
But here's my question. When you're saying that it's the newer generation complaining about it, how old are these kids? 14 years old?
I don't know.
They don't remember the World Series runs?
And I'm giving too much credence to these people I see on social media. I'm almost kind of using them just to fuel the argument a little bit, But
well, it's funny because you're right. It's not only your algorithm and what you're seeing on social media. I've seen a lot of backlash too, especially after the Bobby Evans hire, when he was hired as an advisor, not as a GM, not as the president of baseball operations, but just bring him in as an advisor. And everybody on social media was, oh, Buster's moving backwards. He's going backwards in time. I'm like, yeah, he's going backwards to when, they won 3 World Series. It's not like we're going back to the 1920s here, people. We're going back 10, 15 years ago when the Giants had success with pitching, with defense, and with homegrown superstars. And that's the kind of model franchise, or that's the recipe for winning in San Francisco.
In fact, that is true. And listen, I'm here to tell you, bring Bum back. Bring him back. What's the worst he could do? What's he going to make people worse? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, no, but is he going to be cutting edge? Is he going to be talking about tunnels and shapes? No. But is he going to talk about mentality? Yeah. Does mentality matter? Yeah, it matters. So here's more Buster on what kind of team they're going to be. So we're trying to glean all his words. So does this start with the Soto quote about going in for Soto? So because he's talking about you got to try to get these guys. It doesn't mean you're going to get them, but what kind of team they want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was in the weeds enough to say yes or no on that. I mean, I think for me, the lesson is, or maybe it's not even a lesson, but if you have an opportunity to go after that type of caliber player, and what's the alternative, right? You don't even go after him, and okay, well, you're definitely not getting them at that point. I know that there's a sense with the fan base on, some frustration on not being able to land those guys, but I feel like from my seat, what I could tell the last couple of years, it was really putting a strong foot forward. I think ownership, again, from my vantage point, made it very clear the priority to try to target those type of players. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out. So we look at this, we're trying to build a complete team, go into this offseason looking at some areas where we feel like there might be holes. And I'm a big believer in pitching and defense.
Okay, so there's a part 2 to this quote too, but they're not getting Soto. That's the bottom line.
I'd say that is a heavy favorite in the betting market, Murph.
Yeah, where do you think he's going to go?
Yankees.
Okay.
I think he stays in pinstripes.
Why do I say Mets?
I don't know, because
I'm saying Mets.
You want to troll me a little bit? I mean, the Mets keep on saying they're going to offer him all the money in the world, but to leave the pinstripes to go play for the little brother in the New York Mets, I don't know
little
if Juan Soto
brother
wants to. Yeah, absolutely. The New York Mets are the
little
little brother. Little brother. They're barely a cousin at this point, Murph.
Right. Anyway, one more Buster on his vision for the 2025 Giants.
I'm really excited about some of these young arms that we have. Obviously, Webb leading the way. Robbie Ray's not a young arm at this point, but I think we're expecting big things from him. Coming back this year, being a couple years removed from injury, and Hayden Birdsong, Landon Roop, Kyle Harrison, we've got Keaton Wynn, Tristan Beck. I mean, there's some really quality arms, and I think for us to make a big leap, we're going to have to rely on some of these younger arms to carry some of the bulk for us. So I got to see it firsthand. We had some veteran guys and the Barry Zitos and the Ryan Vogelsongs of the world, and couple that with Lincecum and Kane and Bumgarner, and sprinkled in with some other veterans here and there. You can kind of see that. Maybe not, the Lincecum type of stuff that can just electrify a stadium, but from what I've gathered talking to coaches and some of the other players, some of these guys, I'm excited to watch them go and compete next year.
Okay.
You forgot to mention that Soto guy. How many innings would he pitch?
Can't talk about free
agents.
All right. Well, speaking of Shohei will be pitching next year. But anyway,
great.
So it sounds like the more he talks pitching and defense, pitching and defense, pitching and defense. 2010, 2012, 2014.
Yep, and we know that's the strength of the organization in the farm system right now. It's pitching, pitching, and pitching, and that's why I think a lot of people are expecting moves like Hassan Kim or maybe other defensive moves to improve the defense overall next year.
Grant Brisbee wrote a piece on Hassan Kim talking about that shoulder injury ain't no joke.
No.
That ain't no joke. Mm-mm. So if you sign him, you're signing damaged goods. And guys who've had that injury don't come back and play great defense from making throws from the hole.
Well, that's the question about whether they want to go in that direction or go with the Willie Adames, but that's going to cost you a qualifying offer and all that good stuff.
All right. Well, anyway, there's a little Buster for you. And again, listen, the trollers are out. This guy 408 is doing what all these smart guys, they're sending this picture of Farhan as Buster. That's it. It's like, okay, I got you. All right.
Not a pretty sight.
So you guys, that's what you guys are doing. This is what you guys are doing to Buster, right? Okay. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's where we're at. Buster's a boomer. He's an old man.
Did you guys hear the Posey laugh in that thing?
Oh,
it might have a new laugh.
Not bad.
Pretty good there, buddy. Pretty good.
Okay, Boomer.
Thank you. Very good. Mike Krukow can react to all that coming up, and then John Lynch at 8 a.m. on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
There's no question we've got the best in the booth. That's why Murph and Marcus catch up with Kruk right now. On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM.
All right, our pre-Thanksgiving Mike Krukow. Can't wait to chat. We had some Buster conversation to catch up on. And Mike's sponsored by your Northern California Honda dealers. See your NorCal Honda dealer now for sedan. Find savings on every model. Hey, happy pre-Thanksgiving, Mike. I know you got that great, big, beautiful family. You got the beautiful home up there in Reno. And imagine you're getting ready for a big day Thursday. How you doing?
Hey, morning, Mike.
Yeah, Thursday's going to be special. Actually, my daughter, Tess, she's going to cook the Thanksgiving dinner for the first time. So
all right.
Looking forward to that. And then the day after that, it's going to be the big day. And so just a great weekend of family and kids and dogs and songs. And it's going to be a hoot. Can't wait.
I love it, man. Are you ready to loosen the belt a couple notches, one or two?
Oh, no, there is no belt. And after COVID, man, it was stretch pants and go get them.
Elastic doesn't care about Thanksgiving. Elastic won't judge you on Thanksgiving. No, it works with you, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Belts, they are overrated.
Love it, man. Love it. All right, Mike. So listen, we just played. We do have a little bit of news to get to on our little chat here we do with you, and that is Buster spoke to Jason Stark yesterday and introduced the idea that Madison Bumgarner, of all people, might be interested in coming to help with the pitchers. Now, he said he didn't want to get ahead of himself and didn't label a role. I'm guessing maybe a spring training visit or something like that. I don't know. But the idea, he said he was surprised. He thought Bumgarner wanted to stay in the forest, in the woods of North Carolina. So what's your reaction to that comment by Buster?
No, it just seems such a natural. The thing about getting better at the big league level, you have talent to get to the big leagues. You're a good player. Everybody in the big leagues, the worst player in the big leagues, you know what they call him? They call him a big leaguer. So when you get to that level, and it so often happens where you get one tip, you get one thing that puts you over the edge, and it separates you from the herd, and your career takes off. And the more you can get proven winners, proven successful all-star caliber, big sack players in postseason guys. I mean, you get those in camp, and you have a conversation. They're going to engage. It's up to you as a player to walk over to a guy like Madison Bumgarner and say, hey, I want to ask you a question, and just get it going. And the more of those guys you have available for those conversations, the better chance that your young players are gonna take that next step. Now, you take a look at the Giants last year. What they do? They developed a lot of young pitchers, a lot of guys, especially in their rotation, that are trying to figure it out. Is it a new grip that's going to give me the advantage as I go forth? Is it going to be a quicker delivery? Is it going to be just an adjustment in my mechanics? So you bring in a guy like Bumgarner and just have him around. You watch him. You watch how he puts his uni on. You watch how he takes the field. You watch what he looks at when he walks on the field. And you see these old guys. They get out of the dugout and they look up at the sky. They see where the wind's going. You see how the ballpark's playing. These are such valuable nuggets for young players. And Bumgarner he's got edge to him. Nobody is going to make you better at putting yourself on the mound and projecting out to that player in the batter's box and make him feel you more than Madison Bumgarner. So for Buster Posey to have him come back, and a lot of guys who were on those championship teams, Belt, Crawford, you can just go down the list. Bring him around. Get him back into the culture. Get everybody excited about getting better and bring these players. That's how you do it. So Buster knows this. Buster's one of those guys. And I'm not surprised at this at all. And as a matter of fact, there was a presence lacking the last 6 years, and now it seems that it's going to be coming back. And I'm not taking shots at the previous regime because I really like Farhan. And I like Gabe Kapler for that matter. They had their way of doing things. I didn't always agree with it, but I sure respected the effort. But now the culture is coming back, and you're going to have proven stars on that field from previous generations that have something to to give to a young player. And I love the fact that Bumgarner's doing it. Are you kidding me?
As far as potential roles go for Madison Bumgarner, if he does join the organization, do you think he'd be more valuable at the major league level around the clubhouse or as a minor league roving instructor? Both.
Get him out there. Have him do 2 weeks at the big league level. Have him do 2 weeks in minor league level. You know, he's going to want to get out of the house. I mean, get him out there, and then I don't know if he wants to make a commitment full time to be a coach, because he'd be a good one. I mean, whatever he is going to embark upon, he is going to be able to add to it. And he's not going to be a guy that's there just to pick up a paycheck. He's going to be a guy that wants to make a difference. And the more pitchers, you know, old and young, that you can get him around, the better off this organization is going to be.
Yeah, we're talking to Mike Krukow. We do it every Tuesday and Thursday, but not this Thursday. It's Thanksgiving, and everybody's going to enjoy, and Mike's going to throw on the sweatpants and let it rip, and as we all will, too, as we get after it in the story of Buster Posey talking about Madison Bumgarner possibly returning in an advisory or coaching role. Kind of an exciting thing to get to. He also talked more about, you know, pitching and defense as the identity of the team he wants, and it linked to something that's happened since we last talked to you, was the MVP awards were given out. I think we were in Hawaii when that happened, and it was Shohei Ohtani in the National League, Aaron Judge in the American League. Now, what do those guys each have in common? The Giants tried to get both of those guys. The Giants didn't get either of those guys. Now we're at Soto, Mike, and we've talked about it all summer and fall. Now they're reporting that there's 5 offers out to him, and the Giants aren't one of them. So just kind of wondering, given that Shohei and Judge are out here winning MVPs after spurning the Giants, and that there's no offer out there for Soto apparently or reportedly, you okay with that? You good with the Giants trying to build without Juan Soto?
Well, I'd like to see him here. You have to remember, too, that, you know, you have to be in a certain position as an organization where a player like Ohtani and Judge and Soto, they want to come to your organization. They have to go look at your lineup, look at your prospects, look at your organization, and they have to figure out, okay, where are we going to be? Because this is going to be a 6, 7, 8, maybe even a 10-year deal. Who knows? So you as a player, I mean, you're going to evaluate, okay, if I'm coming here, what's our chances to get to not only the playoffs but to win? I mean, players evaluate organizations like organizations evaluate players. I don't think we were in a position that really enticed Ohtani or Judge to take the Giants seriously, because we had so many young players that needed to be developed, which is what they did last year. Last year was such a huge significance to how this team goes forward, because you found out a lot about your arms especially. And you found out about guys that could play, and you found out about guys who couldn't play. Well, now you're in a different situation than you were when you were recording Ohtani and Judge. Now you forecast better. And if you're a guy like Soto, you know, you might say, okay, I may be the missing piece that they can build around. And that's how it goes. That's why I think that if they do get involved with Soto, it's going to be a little bit different. They're going to have a better argument to bring him here simply because of who's going to surround them as players and what their pitching staff looks like. So, you know, I think if they do go after him, they have a pretty good argument.
The Giants also took care of some housekeeping business this past Friday with the arbitrational eligible players. Camilo Duvall, Tyler Rogers, Lamont Wade Jr. all got tendered contracts, and Mike Yastrzemski actually got a 1-year contract extension. Mike, were you surprised by any of these moves with all 4 of these guys coming back to the organization?
No, not really. I think that all these guys, you know, understand the culture here. I think a lot of these guys, you know, have consistent things that they can offer that I think are things you want on your club. You know, I think the biggest one is Duvall. I think because he really needs to tighten up his mechanics to where he can get a more consistent arm slot and an arm release. And what he showed last year, he was really inconsistent with it, and he was all over the place. They need to fix that. But we all know when he's right, he can dominate a game. I mean, he can make it look easy. So I like what they did. But, you know, even if everybody goes through arbitration, even if everybody gets nestled into a deal, it's still no guarantee they're going to be here April or whenever. When's the opening day? Late March?
Yeah.
So we don't know if they're all going to be there on opening day. I mean, things can change. But I thought that the fact that they kept them as we go forward, I thought was no big surprise.
We keep looking for things to find when Buster talks, and he did this podcast with Jason Stark and Doug Glanville, and he's very savvy. He didn't give away too much other than the Bumgarner news, which was pretty interesting, but he kept saying, I'm a big believer in pitching and defense. That's been his one consistent thing, I would say, along with making memories. So would you say that in the last, since Bobby Evans and them went away, or since under the new regime, Farhan and Gabe, did the Giants get away from pitching and defense as an identity? And how does Buster go about reestablishing it? And is that the way to compete against a big budget team like the Dodgers?
Absolutely, that's how you compete. Look, there's three things that make up a ball game: defense, pitching, and hitting. You can win with two of those. You can't win with one. And the Giants, I think, for the most part these last several years, they had to make a decision because they needed offense, and they had to make a decision. We're gonna go with more offense than we are with defense. Once Crawford started to erode and then eventually leave, there was a glaring hole at shortstop. Now, Fitzgerald filled in all right, but I don't think he's an everyday guy. I think he's a guy best suited for second base, simply because when you go deep into the hole to your right as a shortstop, you can get exposed a little bit. And I thought that was something that, he needed to do some serious work on. Now, you can get away with it a little bit in the Giants club because you have Chapman at third base, who's got tremendous range to his left. But that was a point in just trying to illustrate how important defense is. They sacrificed defense for offense with Fitzgerald, and they did that with a number of players. I truly believe, especially when you have good pitchers, you have to have good defense. They have to repair. They have to now they're getting I can't tell you what.
Robbie Ray?
Sung Hoo Lee. Yeah. No, Sung Hoo Lee.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jung Hoo Lee. Yeah, Jung Hoo Lee. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's coming back, and so you solve the problem in center field. So then right away you've gotten better. Now you have to come in and you get another centerpiece meaning a second baseman, shortstop, catcher, or a center fielder. You have to get those guys that they're the backbone of your defense. So they need to improve on the shortstop position. Even if you give up, in my opinion, some offense, that's how important defense is. Because once you solidify the defense, you're going to solidify the pitching staff. And with those two things, you're going to be in every game.
Well, that's the way Buster's talking. We'll see. So far, no acquisitions. Obviously, we got the winter meetings coming up in December. We'll see what they do. So, all right, Mike, it's always great to catch up. The Bumgarner thing, pretty interesting. And then the rest is just you and your daughter making the wonderful turkey and the gravy and the potatoes and the stuffing and the cranberry and all. Who you got in the football games? We got Bears, Lions early. Terrible New York Giants Cowboys afternoon game. You can take that afternoon off. Watch some baseball highlights there. And then the evening game, Dolphins at Green Bay. Those aren't bad.
Yeah, Detroit, I think, is going to romp. Who knows about the Cowboys? And then the nightcap, flip a coin. I think there's going to be some pretty good games. But you know what, though? I mean, you're going to be in such a food coma. You're going to be falling asleep anyway, so what the hell?
Right. It's going to be on. Something on in the background, and then you'll be playing music and singing and eating. So go to the Krukows, everybody. Have a good Thanksgiving. So happy
You're all invited. That's it. Come on over.
Well, we are truly thankful for your unbelievable consistency and brilliance when you do these radio hits for all these many years, and it's just energy, performance, awesomeness. So we are thankful for you, Mike. So have a great Thanksgiving to the big Krukow family, and we will talk to you next week.
Out of it.
Mike Krukow on Thanksgiving week. All right, John Lynch, 9er GM, 8 a.m. on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Now, from the O'Donnell Financial Group Sports Desk. Learn more at ODFIGroup.com. O'Donnell Financial Group, because planning is a process, not a product.
Matt Mayoko joins Adam Copeland and Kerry Crowley at 4:50 this afternoon. You can hear that interview live on the KNBR app and KNBR.com. It is also that time.
It's time for the Young Tony and John Joe question of the day.
All right, so everybody's been talking about this. After the game, Fred Warner said that the Packers, quote, presented some different run looks than we had prepared for in the first half, but we got to be better from the jump. So who deserves blame for the lack of preparation? You can join the conversation in the YouTube chat now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Marcus Boucher here on a Tuesday morning to talk to you about the Abundant Life Weight Loss Agency. Have you been searching for the secret to losing weight and getting healthy the natural way with no drugs or injections? The team at Abundant Life Weight Loss has the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day. Their weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight and get healthy naturally and safely. I've been on this program for 3 months, and guess what? I've dropped 25 pounds. And I've done it without counting any points or calories, without any prepackaged meals, and with